see you.
It's good to see you too.
I miss you. You're my oldest and dearest.
Well, I never felt any shame.
I don't have any regrets about my dance life. It's been kind of amazing, kind of wonderful, you know. If I hadn't been in the work, I would never have known these amazing people. And when you said about this thing, I started thinking about that. And I just felt so grateful.
What happened? I turned 60 recently, like 4 years ago.
60? You're just a baby. You're a baby.
The baby at the table, Mama Sylvia.
Yeah, I'll be 63 tomorrow.
Oh!
Happy birthday.
I appreciate
I'll be
it.
90 in October.
Woo! Amen and hallelujah.
And I have only one thing to say.
What is
If you have not retired by age 67, you've made a mistake.
Yes, ma'am.
Your life is your own after that, and if you don't, it's a huge mistake, and I made it. So don't do it. Don't do it. Everybody should retire from anybody else owning them.
Yeah,
Even 8 hours a day or 10 or whatever. Yeah.
it's a lot.
I think people need
It's a
to-
long time.
There's a lot to do after age 65. A lot.
It's true. Yes, there is.
I moved here in 1985. Ronald Reagan was the president.
What were your first impressions of the District of Columbia?
Where would you move from?
Cincinnati.
Cincinnati.
I'd never seen so much chocolate, good chocolate.
Oh, yeah.
Chocolate people. So I was like, wow. So that's my first impression. And also the people weren't very nice. They were mean.
Oh.
Because I spoke to everybody from coming from the Midwest. Like if you make eye contact, you say hello.
I think 1967, Nixon was president. We came here because Dick didn't want to go to Vietnam, and he could get a job at NIH.
Oh.
So it was a way to get out of Vietnam, actually. And at that time, I was a speech therapist. I had a master's degree, and I was working as a speech therapist.
Wow.
But the city was alive here with a lot of beginning modern dance. I began to just dip a toe. I danced as a kid. The place where I danced, the owners were in vaudeville. So we had tap, baton, ballet, point, and tap, baton,
Acrobatics.
point, and acrobatics.
All
That was
Because I didn't have a college degree, I would discover stuff, and I realized everybody else already knew it. Because I didn't know what I was doing, I was making it up as I went
back
along.
and forth as a visitor, and then landed in 1987. And coming from New York, for me, it took a lot of armoring and a lot of,
Interesting.
you know, protection living in New York. So moving here, it was a process of, oh, I don't have to do all of that.
Oh, that's
I don't have to
interesting.
do so much. Well, mostly in New York because there's just so many people packed together. So you never have any or I never had any kind of quiet space. And then the other thing is just a woman on the street was just horrible.
Who was the president?
Well, it was actually Eisenhower
Eisenhower, wow.
in 1961. My family moved here when I was 8 years old from West Virginia. My first impression of Washington, it used to be a very long drive. It was like an 8-hour drive between Beckley and Washington at that time because they didn't have the same highways. But we got to Washington, it was October and it was dark, and my uncle was driving and he took us on a night tour of the monuments. You know, and that was my first impression because we came across the bridge and he drove us through downtown.
Right?
Yeah, you know, I mean, he showed us the monument and the White House and the Capitol, and I mistook the Capitol for the White House, but I knew I had seen it in pictures. And that was just, I just fell in love with it immediately. It was just, I felt like I had come home, you know. So.
I just came to Washington, D.C. and took a job at Howard University.
Woo! What year was that?
And that was 63, I believe, 62 or 63. And I taught for 1 year and then I got pregnant. So I decided that I would stop teaching and I was typing, because I was very good on technical things, I was typing a manuscript for a person writing a book, and I was pregnant. And so that was the only year of my life I didn't work full time.
Who was president in '62?
Anyway, so that was
Kennedy, yes?
So it was that, and that was when Kennedy was assassinated. I was at Howard University when that happened. So I was the one white person marching with the black faculty. I was honored to do that. I learned a lot from being on the faculty at Howard University. And then the next year, a friend from Salt Lake who was teaching at GW decided to get a PhD and asked me if I would take her job for 1 year. So I agreed to take the job. I didn't want to be a university professor. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to have another career. And I agreed to take it for 1 year. Then she decided not to come back. So then I had to make a decision about whether to stay or not. And we deliberated, but my husband was in law school. And I was providing the money. So that was in Idaho for 1 year, Purdue University for 3 years, Howard for 1 year. So I had 4 years of college teaching, and then I went to GW.
Where you stayed for
58.
years.
I mean, at that point, I thought I was going to be a lawyer. Because, I mean, I didn't really become an artist until I was in my 30s.
Awesome.
So, and then it was...
You've seen a lot change.
Absolutely. I mean, because DC used to be a very small town.
Yeah.
For sure.
You know, and it had small town mentality, and, you know, it's like going downtown to shop. I remember, you know, you had Woody's and Garfinkel's, you know, the two anchoring stores on F Street. And then you could also go all the way down to Hex, you know, but that was like the stretch. You know, when you came downtown.
Lothrop or something.
Yeah, Wood and Lothrop. Yeah.
Big change in Washington, D.C.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful city.
Absolutely. I mean, that was like the thing is, I like New York well enough, but after a certain amount of time, I had to get out of there because it was just too hot.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I was used to the breath and the greenery of Washington, and, you know, it started to feel claustrophobic after a while because you were just, everything was towering over you. And Washington wasn't like that. And it was also Chocolate City. Which, I mean, it was very important.
I've arrived.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
It
it was very important growing
That's
up during that
important.
time.
Yeah.
You know, as Black people, to be in that kind of an environment because, you know, with the civil rights movement and, you know, I remember the March on Washington. It's like we didn't go down, but I remember watching it on TV and how impactful it was. I mean, I had the same kind of feeling from that day when they had the Million Man March because the kind of peace that came about during those times. I mean, it was a real important statement, I thought, for what the city was and what it represented politically for the nation and what it represented for the citizens of Washington in particular. You know, and being from Southeast, because Southeast was always apart. You know, and that was something that was distinctive in Washington too, because when you crossed that bridge, I mean, when I used to sell drawings at the Eastern Market, and I would have people that loved my work, and I would have open studios, and I would tell people how to come to my house. I told them to stay on 295 and exit by Bowling Air Force Base. Some people would, this was when we had the 11th Street Bridge, and it was the two bridges, right? Some people would not listen to instructions, and instead of staying on 295, they would come straight across the bridge and end up on Martin Luther King Avenue.
Yeah.
They got scared. They seriously got scared, and I would have calls, we aren't going to make it. Because they drove on Martin Luther King and they decided they needed to turn around and go back. You know, it was like, it was interesting because people were afraid. And to me, it was just, you know, where I lived.
Something that's going to linger with me that you just said about the March on Washington and the Million Man March and the peace that came with those big events, those important events, being important to the nation and important to the city. That's going to stay with me because I need it to. Yeah. Thank you for saying that.
my happy place is here.
Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, it's where, I mean, you know, I just can just tune everything out and just go inside. I don't have to be bothered by the world, and I don't have to be bothered by anything that's going on, and just tune everything out, and I can just stay there. That's my happy place.
My happy place is in a dance studio with dancers, and we're starting a process of discovery, and we don't quite know what's going to happen, and just putting my idea out and watching what happens with the people, and so the time kind of stops. I don't know what, there's no sense of time anymore because it's a total present moment.
I don't know if it's a place. Yeah, but I have 4 children, and I'd say the greatest part of my concern is regarding them. And so I'm trying to set up my whole life that they will. I had no money. I came from no money. I educated myself. I paid for my own college. I did everything myself. Had a fantastic family in terms of brilliance. But my father was like, preferred to write poetry. So there we are. But I think, I guess my happiness is that I'm this old, and I think I'm going to make something profoundly possible for each of my children.
Either at the beach,
Yeah.
or I can sit there
Oh, great.
until it gets nighttime, and I can check out. Because when I first started working at Dance Space, I would not take a vacation.
Oh,
And I'm finally, within the past 7 years since I met this guy, that he makes me go and take a break. So my happy place is at the beach.
My happy place really is in the studio with dancers, right at the time when we're first beginning to make something, right at that moment where, I guess you said it too, Nancy, you don't know what's going to happen, but it's that playful. It's so playful. And it's been just a great gift to be a dancer and to be an adult that gets to play in that way. It's just, creating is playful. For me, it's playful. Even if it's maybe a theme or a subject that might not be a joyful one, it's still a playfulness. That's my happy place.
Beautiful.
Maida has made me brave because she's so brave. You're so brave about your own work, and so you have such a belief in yourself, and you're so strong about it. And I want to be that way too. And you've always inspired me because you just go
Well,
for
it's
it.
just what-
And there
whatever
was
it is,
this
it
is just
is.
I'll get on the film. But there was a time when I got a terrible review in the Washington Post.
oh,
Many years ago.
Hasn't.
And I was at a Mark Morris show, and I was sitting there, and Maida walked down the aisle, and she looked at me, and she said, "Don't you quit. You keep going." She said that, really. Do you remember? You probably don't remember that.
I think I do, actually.
So it's really just to keep going, you know? That we've survived, we keep going, and whether people like it or not it's capricious. It can change, and the older we live, we realize how capricious that is. And you just keep going with what you believe, and I always
Well,
felt
what I think is so
that
amazing.
she inspired me. You're this kind of intellectual, kind of modern dance thing. So Ethel Butler was teaching Graham. She'd been in the original company in 1938, 35. So I was taking dance classes, and Ethel Butler was really the drums and contractions and all. And then Jan Van Dyke was teaching a kind of Cunningham, Colette Glacies, who I became very close to, had just graduated from Juilliard. She was teaching Limon. Liz Lerman had her studio with, so there was all this stuff going on. And I was thinking, I have this degree, I should be doing this work, but I'm really liking this other thing. So I kept taking class like it was like hors d'oeuvres.
I felt like I had 2 great influences in my life. And those came to me when I was 17 and I was a freshman in college, and 18 when I was a sophomore in college. And that had a profound effect on what I thought I could do. And so I gave them money to have an endowment in my name for innovation in
Lovely.
choreography
Who are they?
with international research and residencies if possible. And so those will be for undergraduates, not graduate students.
Beautiful. You said the university?
Brigham Young. It's when I was 17, I met Anna Halpern.
Oh, lucky you.
1 month. She invited me to San
Wow.
Francisco. She invited me to go to the workshop, #2 workshop on the dance deck of Lawrence Halpern. And that's where I met all the people from Maine and New York City and so forth. I was 17.
Wow.
And then when I was 18, I met Eric Hawkins. And he had just married Lucia, and he had his first paid dancer with him in the residency. And every day I went across the floor dancing with her. And I thought, well, I can do this.
That's
I
so
can do
great.
this. I
That's
can do
great.
this.
Why
And that's,
not?
you know, what I had to give up to have the freedom that I demanded was, I taught for 64 years. And in that time, I had 15 years of bringing the postmodern leaders, including Yvonne Rainer, all of them, 15 years in Washington, D.C. in the summer for 4 weeks to create work and present it and produce it. And I had 4 children.
Wow.
So I was mother, but that allowed me to perform every summer, but that wasn't sufficient. But to bring that, and then I did 15 years of the DC International Improvisation Plus Festival, which was bringing people internationally to do projects, and that was fantastic. Whatever.
I spent a week in a workshop on movement and voice with Simone Forte, who died today.
Oh, she died?
Yeah.
She came? Well, Simone, she was there. When I went to the Anna Halpern workshop when I was 18, she was there. And she would run like a wild woman. And I said to her, do you mind if I just follow you? Because I'm a wild woman. I do that in my orchard and on my snow. We had the place where people skied and sledded down my house. I run down the hills. And she said, fine. And we would run wild around the
Yeah,
circle.
she was like,
And then
Kindred
Naima
spirit.
brought her
Yes.
to Washington, D.C. And that was a big influence, have her come here. And she is a curiosity, for
she
sure.
was incredibly curious.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
the whole thing you learned from
Yeah.
that week was, let's just discover some stuff together. Like, she was curious and we were curious. And it was all about just discovering stuff. And it was so interesting, and she was so free a person. She didn't have any pretension or any sense. She had no ambition. She didn't really care. She just wanted to discover stuff. And really, as I was saying to Sheila, I think the whole thing is about curiosity. And you start working with kids, and all of a sudden you see this kid and they start to express, or I see an old person and I do something and the person starts to find their voice. And it's so interesting because I believe each person has this unique essence. And in dance, if we can find a way to help that person free their essence, all of a sudden you see this amazing thing that you never saw before. And all the years I've worked, it's still amazing to me. It's never boring.
What's funny sometimes when I forget how many people I've taught, because I've taught so many people. But, I could be in Target and I hear, ba-ba-da, ba-ba-da, ba-ba-da. And I'm like, remember me? And I'd be like, yeah.
I do.
So that's the most rewarding part for me. And also, when I teach the seniors, there's a few that sit in the chair, right? So I go to the chair and I start showing them what to do, and I'm being animated, and then their eyes just light up. Just because you're in a chair doesn't mean you can't move. And they're so surprised, So it makes me feel really, really good. I'm a hugger, and I'm a nurturer, and it's always rewarding when a kid say, because of you, this is why I'm doing this, or because of you, I went into dance therapy. Because of you, you gave me the confidence to dance when nobody gave me the chance to dance. I'm always rooting for the underdog. I'm always, and I'm determined. Whatever kid issue is, mom said she has Tourette. I was like, okay, come in, 5, 6, 7, 8, get over there and just do what you need to do. Or, you know, she's on the spectrum. Okay, 5, 6, 7, 8, get over there and do what you. Once I get into class, I don't think about it. You're a dancer. And we're getting ready to dance. 5, 6, 7, 8, let's go. You know, so I know I love it. I wanted to be a nurse. So it makes sense that, you know, that I, you know, I'm into caring and, you know, that thing. So I wanted to be a nurse. When I saw Julia on TV, black and white, long time ago.
Oh, yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to be a nurse.
Where did you go in Japan?
I went to Tokyo and then I went to Kawasaki. I had 109 second graders. We did a performance in 3 days.
Oh my gosh.
They each group danced and drum.
Oh my gosh.
In 3 days.
In 3 days.
Do you speak Japanese?
No, I speak dance.
Hey! The international language!
Movement is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sound.
Yeah.
And also too, you know, when you're talking about college institutions, it's like people still really do not know what African dance is. They think Africa, every country, well they don't, first of all they think Africa is one country. And every country and every ethnic group in that country has their own dance. So there's many, many dances. And each dance has technique. You know, we do passe, arabesque, we do tendu, we do glissade, we do all those things, but we do it in the African way. So when I'm teaching dancers and I know some of the ballet terms, and I say échappé, this is what we're doing, they immediately get it. But luckily for me, I used to teach ballet for little people. So I know the terms, so I can transfer that into when I teach African dance. So
amazing.
And especially as a woman here, you have to be tough because most companies are ran by men. And for me, everybody in my company were women. So we all drummed, we all danced. I did my own choreography. I would go study in the continent, but I wouldn't bring them back to come. When I went there to study, I brought it back to my company and I put it on my company. So people sometimes had an issue with that because, you know, I'm not from the continent, but I was like, just like you're not from Russia where the ballet was created, you're not from there, you go and learn it. So, you know, it's the same thing. So it's like, you know, just teaching people what African dance is. And I constantly have to school, you're just jumping around. We're not just jumping around. Because Senegal dance is different from Guinea. Guinea dance is different from Cameroon. It's all very diverse, you know, so, you know, constantly teaching that. And even in college, when you were talking about in college, when professors, modern professors, will try to tell me how to do African dance.
Excuse me?
Right, exactly.
Wait,
I mean, it's just, so it's like, that's why I choose not to teach in colleges, because it's just,
Wow.
They're trying to say, well, I'm gonna come take your class. I say, come take my class. And when I come, I make it the hardest class possibly. And they're like, oh, I was like, yeah, that's not it. That's not the technique. You look like a modern dancer trying to do African. But when Miss Riley took my class, she was awesome.
Oh,
No, you were.
I
You
just
danced on the beat.
I like the middle, I think. I don't mind starting, but I really hate finishing.
Really?
But no, I mean, because finishing means, you know, everything has to be nice and neat and ready for presentation. And to me, that's the tedious part, for a visual artist at least. You know, because you can get all the expression done, and then you got to like take care of all the little details. I don't mean the work, I mean the actual finishing. If I'm doing something and I need to hem the edge, or I need to make sure that everything is securely glued, and, you know, it's just tedious to make sure that the presentation is proper.
I always begin at the beginning, and I found with endings, for me, I really have to wait for it. And if I try to make, sometimes we have a deadline, so you have to put an ending on. And then I'll look back and it's really wrong because it's a forced ending. And you have to, I feel I have to wait until the ending comes, and you can't make it come. And I don't know, so I think the endings are really hard.
What part do you enjoy the most?
The very beginning, like Deborah said,
Yeah.
with all the dancers and the excitement and the exploration. But it's just, creativity comes when it comes. I had one concert that got a rave review in the Washington Post, and I thought that was going to be great, and it was absolutely horrible because the next piece I made, I wanted to make it as good as the one before it, and that's a totally wrong motivation for doing anything.
I don't lack for ideas.
You don't.
I don't lack for ideas, and it's sort of like out of that, what is it that I want to, that I'm going to do? So it's like that. It's sort of like it falls away.
Yeah.
And I love the whole process. I like the people. I like meeting. I like having their input and how to incorporate it, how to not incorporate it. And the biggest thing is what to do with it when it's done and you present it, and then what?
So I like the beginning and the middle, and I'm usually always sad about the end because I never want to see the dancers. And my company is really about community and family, and so when it ends, then I don't get to see them anymore. So so I like the beginning and the middle, but the end makes me sad.
Yeah, there's something I like about the beginning, the middle, and the end. You know, there's always something to like. And in the middle, that's where it really gets meaty and you really have to dig in, and I enjoy that. And it took me a long time to learn, though, when I'm trying too hard, it's like, that is the wrong thing to do. It took me a long time to learn that. I would kind of try to make it happen. And of course it never does when you try to do that. And then the ending is very exhilarating. It's when everything comes together, and it may be just barely coming together. And usually for dance, that's the case. It's like, you know, right at the last minute. So that's very exhilarating. And then of course you miss the people. And then it's over.
I think, was it you we were talking earlier, or maybe it was you, where we talked about how experimentation is very important to me, and how I'll go back and forth between different ways that I've worked and combining those ideas into new work. Because I think that that's what helps you grow as an artist, is building on the things that you've done before, because it pushes you to think outside of your own box, you know, and I think that's important. I think that that's what drives me to work, and I think that that's how my energy gets pushed out and helps me to communicate the ideas with others, because I'm building on the language that I built.
Yeah.
And it's just continual learning. You know, it's self-learning, which is so important. And I think what happens is the external world, you know, when you change, and let's say 2 years later you're doing a completely different media and you're doing another expression, and so they don't know what to do with you.
Right.
It's like, now we have to understand that she's doing, which, you know, that's more work for them. And they might not get it, or whatever get it is, and it makes it's challenging for other people when you're interested in expanding your creativity and your work and keep learning and reinventing, really.
And I think that art is a continuous reinvention. Yeah. I mean, one of the things that Sam said to me, I'll never forget it. He said, "You gotta keep them guessing.
You gotta keep what?
You gotta keep them guessing." You know, and I took that to heart.
Yes.
You know, because I think it was an important concept. Because if you don't keep them guessing, that means you're stuck.
Interesting. You've been a great
And
supporter.
it matters.
Yeah.
It matters to see these voices of these, and for Dance Place, you and Carl always did that. And I always felt that I didn't really appreciate you till you weren't there.
Oh.
Because when I had a show at Dance Place, one of you always came. There was always one, and that's huge, that you've got to come to all these shows for a year, and I always felt support, and if the work didn't quite work, you still supported me, and that's very rare. And
Yeah,
I feel
my,
like there's such a need for it, for people coming along. I feel like I care about the future of the field. I care about myself, but I care about these young voices,
As
or
you
not
should.
young maybe, but they're
Yeah, dancers have, just like visual artists, you know, we all have our ways that we need to be supported so that we can nurture our creativity. And for dancers, space is the number one. You know, having access to space, having access to opportunities to show, because things don't, and it's probably like visual artists, you know, when you have to actually have an exhibit, that is a different kind of thing about putting yourself out there and making an expression. It's the same thing with dancers, you know, making it for the public to witness just is part of the growth period. And those are, for performing arts, you know, fewer and far further apart now. And what about visual artists? Are there less opportunities now, or it's about the same, or?
No, actually, it's amazing how many opportunities there are now for artists in general, I think. And I was actually going to comment about that I think there's a crossover between performance, dancing particularly, and visual art, in the visual art space, and how you have somebody like Nick Cave.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
kind of crosses.
Yeah, but for me, I'm where Sylvia is in terms of the techniques and the authenticity of what the dance is, because I'm not sure that it is not just a performance. Okay, it's the visual, and it's nothing, for me, spiritual or historic about the way that they're presenting the movement that ties back to the origin of where the movement comes from, or even the costumes.
And you're speaking now
About things like Nick Cave's performance in Venice, for example.
Got it. Okay.
You know, where it's a parade, and you know, that's fine, but I want to see, I mean, like she said, there are 54 countries in Africa, and where does this dance situate itself in the continent, and where does this movement actually come from? Or is it just a way for him to garner support as a visual artist? Okay, and I mean, because I think that that's something that's happening now in a lot of spaces where there's a lot of appropriation that's, in my way of thinking, kind of inappropriate. You know, I think that I spent some time in Japan, and I was with a Japanese family, and I was actually there in August, and you know, there are all sorts of festivals and whatnot, and one of the things that happened in this little town was the Bonodori, which was a big Japanese festival that happens on August 15th. And my host wanted me to dress in like a kimono, and you know, and the shoes, I forget what they're called, but and they taught me how to do the steps of the dance, and it was a religious thing. And I'm like very kind of wary of putting myself in religious places where I don't understand what it is that I'm doing. You know, so I was uncomfortable. But they were fine with it. But for me, it was like, it was not something that I should be doing because I didn't understand what I was doing. And I think that there's a lot going on right now in visual art and performing art where we don't really understand the origin, and we're mimicking what we see more than we're actually creating.
It happened, it was a miracle.
How many years did you and Carla?
We were there for 35.
It's just a miracle
37,
that you know, that worked, and Carla and you had the insight of what could work, how it could work. And it takes that, I think, when producing, for sure.
Well, you have to be comfortable with risk and uncertainty.
Yes.
And, you know, believe in people's creativity. Because like you said, Nancy, when you're a presenter, and
You have to stay in business.
and especially if you're commissioning something new, it may not be so good, but you believe in that person
Right.
and what they're creating. And that's important. And it's harder and harder to do because people want things that are more viable financially, so that you can keep the theater open.
Yeah, I mean, even today I found out that the Baltimore Cultural Alliance is closing, which was a very interesting thing, you know, thinking back on some of the conversation earlier about how difficult it is to find funding. And that's the main reason that they're closing, is that they're losing a long-time executive director, and in this interim, they were thinking about getting a new director, but they've decided, after evaluating their financial situation.
Who is this? What?
The Cultural Alliance of Baltimore.
Oh, I see.
Okay, I mean, they do a lot of really, really important programs. And they have found some houses for some of the programs, but a lot of what they do will just end because they don't have the financial support to continue them. You know, but I think that it's an exciting time to be in a place like Baltimore because it's on the cusp, I think, of a lot of things happening. And I think it's exciting, and it has the kind of potential that I think I saw in Washington as a city as a child before Washington became international.
Right.
You know, because I think that there was a real period where Washington became an international city. And I love it here, but it's not really, it's my hometown, but it's not my home anymore. This is an aside, but I saw something online where there was an appeal for people to clear out Melvin Dill's storage unit.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and Melvin was an institution,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
One of the things that I,
Can I just,
yeah,
because Carol Foster is paying for his stuff in storage, so what she's trying to do is, like, and she has to do it in 3 months because she can't afford to
Keep paying for
keep
it.
paying for it. And so she's asking people to come
Come and help.
come and help, and you know, if you want to buy things or purchase things.
Yeah.
Because she, you know, she was the one who took care of him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what kept me here for so long was Dance Place and upholding that mission and upholding the artists and the children in the community and that home of Dance Place. So that kept me here, and then after I retired, I had a new part of my career. And so I'm really enjoying that new part of my career now.
very successful and a big model for others in Washington, D.C.
Well, thank you. I'm not sure, sometimes I feel a little bit isolated, but I'm really enjoying that personal development, that artistic development. And then, of course, my wife is still working, and you know, we have a home.
Is her health good?
Her health is good.
Yeah, tell her hello.
I will do that.
That DC was home to me. And even though I've moved to Baltimore, I think that DC has lost a lot of the comfort that I found here growing up. I mean, especially in these Trump years, because I think that it's become a dismal place. I mean, it's sad, you know, and to be honest, I chose Baltimore because Baltimore is a black city.
It's an interesting city too. It's
Yeah.
just complicated.
Yeah, Baltimore is very, very, very complicated.
My life is here and we're old and there's energy. I still feel, in terms of as a creative artist, like I find people to collaborate with. I find dancers and musicians that are quite beautiful artistically, and that's a gift to me, and they're still here. The city itself, probably, honestly, if I were younger, I would leave the country. I just don't want to be the way it is. I don't want to hear
It's
about
over there, wherever you're thinking of going.
well,
That's
It's
true.
the desire to dominate and to
That's
rule
true.
and to rape and take the money and become rich. It's everywhere. It's just disappointing in America.
so heartbreaking.
So disappointing.
Like
But it will
Sheila
come-
said, it's just heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And but I still see beautiful souls here, and because Dick has had a lot of struggles, I've met along our journey a lot of people, and there's tremendously kind people in the world. And people have helped us, and just strangers walking.
I think Washington's a good place.
But it's kind, there's kind people in the world, and we forget that because things seem so ugly. So many people have gone out of their way for us. Just average people that don't even know me. So I think we have to keep remembering that there are a lot of really good people in Washington and everywhere. And it's hard to remember that in these times.
I love being part of a revolution, and that's what's happening. The AI is in connection with other things that are intersecting, and that's the way it always is. So I think I'm glad I'm alive, because this is something happening.
The thing that I do feel, I want to see what's going to happen, and I might die before we find out what's happening. That I do feel a regret that probably I'm not going to see what's going to happen, because I'm not going to be here.
You just worry about your children then.
I do worry about the children.
That's
It's very hard for the next generation.
It's a very interesting
And I'm
question.
very worried for the next generation.
Very interesting question to think what kind of a young person you would be in these times, given how you were a young person in the time that you were young.
Each born to our time. I think.
Yeah, I mean, but I think it's interesting because I wonder if I would be as rebellious now as I was back then. You know, because
I think it's miraculous. We have gone through a lot, especially your race has gone through a lot. It ain't over yet.
I know.
But it's also, it is also not, it's not over, and that's the good part.
I mean, but for women in general.
Yeah.
For
I mean,
women,
just think
oh my
about the
God,
fact
for
that
women,
women could not have a
I
bank
mean, look
account.
at women in the
Or credit
50s.
card, right?
Yeah.
Look at women in the 50s.
That's what I'm talking about. And
Holy
now they want to go
smokes.
back to that? Have you seen women
It
who
was so
say that
terrible.
they want to vote, they want their husbands to vote
I
for them?
know.
But
Yeah,
I have seen some young women say that they don't mind. You know, they want to be, you know, that kind of submissive, where they find a man that takes care.
traditional way.
Yeah, a traditional wife. They find a man that takes care of them, and they
I
will
think
just
that
allow
one of
them
the
to
things
vote.
that I think is that there's always been stuff like this, but now it's open.
Yeah.
It's being revealed and it's being expressed, and we have to watch it and we have to listen to it. Not that it hasn't been there.
but you know, I think people of color always knew it, and now white people are learning it.
Yes,
That's what I think.
I think so too.
I mean, it was like, now I don't know where we were. And the other thing you learn with age, there's some gifts of age. There's a lot that's not gifts, but how capricious fame is. So you have somebody that's totally ignored, like abstract expressionism was everything. Now, and Alice Neal was completely ignored. But her work is exquisite and wonderful, and all of a sudden everybody's recognizing it. It was always there. It's just the world something becomes stylish.
Trends and
And
ideas,
it has nothing to do with the validity of the work.
or it's the idea, you know, there's a social trend about this idea or this philosophy, and then that trend and philosophy may morph into something else, and so then the art that comes out of that expression is expressing that philosophy. So I think that's part of it, is that yes, the art has always been there, and it's always, you know, been that person's expression, but the philosophies and the social cultures change.
Yeah.
My relationship with Inez is the documentation,
Yes.
okay? Because of the recognition I'm going to have. You know, I mean, that's the point.
It's
It's
really
like the
true.
documentation. Is that, I mean, it was important to me that I have a record of these things that I've done when I gave artist talks, and the work is documented in situ.
That's really true.
So, I mean, I think that the same is true of dance, is that if you don't record it, you don't really have a record of it.
Maida's working on her archives right now.
The Maida Dance, which was founded in 2014, and I started whenever I made it work, I put the web page. But I didn't put everything. But I had a lot. So there was a web page for everything. There were 254 pages now. 254 pages, and and I, every day, like today, 4 hours, I spent on one dance. I did hire somebody to put I didn't think I kept anything, but I have 30 boxes of things now in files. And so once you do that first, have all of your data that you have in boxes someplace, have that put into files, and I have 11 categories for every dance. Is there a press release, is there a program, is there a grant application, is whatever it is. It's just a lot of work. But I think that it's really important that dance have archives. And I don't care what it looks like. I care about what was the thing that was trying to be said. What was the intention of us
Yes.
as we performed and made that
That's
happen.
right.
And I think it's okay no matter what it looks like.
What's working?
I am.
Yes, ma'am.
No, I mean, and that's a serious answer because, you know, the past, I would say, 5-10 years have been real transformation. I mean, because when I left DC and the circumstances and all of that, and it was a real challenge to maintain who I am. And so I'm very proud of the fact that I was able to transfer my life from Washington to Baltimore. So when I say I'm working, I'm very proud of that. So.
Every day I work 6 and sometimes 10 hours. And every project that we did has a web page. And sometimes one project, if I created a film to be projected during that, the interactive, then that would get 2 pages. So there's currently 254 pages, and I'm so grateful every day. I'm looking at names, I'm looking at defining the philosophy of that work and defining the impact that had, because those are the questions that are asked that I fill out every day. What did the press say? There's a place where that happens. So I feel like I think it's a really way to finish my life. I hope it's done within the next 2 years.
The project.
Yeah. Okay, also.
Congratulations.
I hope I don't die before it's finished, I say that.
No.
But it's just, it's really astonishing to review and remember, just to review and remember everything, all these details and everything. It's shocking. And I'm so grateful that it will keep my brain working, perhaps,
Double down.
tedious as it is.
Mama Sylvia, what's working?
I'm working,
Okay.
and that I keep reinventing myself, which is, I'm really grateful that I have that know-how to do that.
Do your
this-
children recognize you?
Yes, they do.
They do, okay, great.
They do. And like moving wisdom is the next phase. So I'm really happy that I created that, but now I'm really using it to my advantage.
Deborah, what's working?
What's working is I'm very grateful that I've been able to dance all my life, or be in the field. I should say, be in the field of dance all my life. I'm grateful
miracle,
every
isn't
single
it?
day. It's a miracle.
Yeah.
I'm grateful every single day for that.
Yeah, I think we all are.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
And at this point in my life, like I said, I'm very grateful that I get to have a new chapter of my dance and my career, because that's who I am. I'm grateful that I'm with a partner that we love and support each other. And I'm grateful that I can take care of, you know, the house over, the roof over my head and the electricity on.
Painting the
I'm grateful
house,
for-
taking the lawn.
Grateful
Oh.
for all of those things and all the people that have come into my life since being in Washington and being at Dance Place, and all of you and all the people, like all of us, the students, the young people, who have been a really important part of all of our lives, the artists who've been a part of our lives. Just that works for me. What doesn't work for me is the aspect of being here in this DMV at this moment in time. That's really hard. That is really hard. Because for me, there were certain decades where I could not be so worried about that personally. And now that's not the case. So that is not working.
It makes you cry.
It does.
I cry, I weep often for my children.
Yeah,
They don't weep, but I do.
yeah.
And it's like I weep for Dance Place. I weep for the moments that I've had there. You guys, I've been there for 43 years.
Wow,
I
congratulations.
came here when I was 20 years old.
Oh, bravo.
So it's like this time that we're living in now is what I feel like Dance Place is going through. And it's really, it's not working for me. And it's really difficult and challenging. Yeah.
I wanted to say one more thing that works for me. It's supporting what Sylvia said. All my life I've done work with older adults through Arts for the Aging, and there's a tremendous joy, and Deborah too, of seeing, you can go into a day center for older people and everybody's all slumped over, and it's kind of a flat affect. And all you start to do is get them to just shake their shoulders and wiggle their hips, and you see the spirit come alive in people. And in some ways it's so easy to get, but you just see their life force, and that we can just, through our skill as dancers, help people who are maybe in despair or maybe just have given up. To find a life force through movement is a continued joy for me, and I feel very lucky to be able to do that. Sort of what you guys are saying too. So here's our leader, our great leader.